Hello, my name is Denise Abdul-Rahman. I am the Indiana NAACP Environmental Climate Justice Chair. Recently, I traveled to the Environmental Protection Agency listening session in Chicago, Illinois. I rode with the Indy and Beyond Coal, or Indiana and Beyond Coal, or also known as Sierra Club. It was a really fun trip. We went in order to speak to the EPA. We each had 3 minutes, and the idea was to express our concerns and our wish for the EPA to create standards and regulations to coal-fired manufacturing plants to limit the amount of emissions and toxins that they're able to spew out into our communities. I would like to share the bulk of what I expressed to the EPA, as well as the additional information that I wanted to be able to share. So this will be somewhat of a reenactment, and some of it will be in addition to. Again, this trip was made on November the 8th, 2013, to the Environmental Protection Agency in Chicago, Illinois, at their listening session. Thank you. Greetings, and thank you for your service. I would first like you to take notice that many of us have come here today as volunteers, and I myself am an underemployed person that has come here. I think that this is something that you should notate as, an extreme act of activism or social justice advocacy. Also, I'm just called to just kind of breathe in the air right now. And I just wondered, what did I just breathe in? What did you just breathe in? Carbon dioxide? How many parts carbon dioxide? How many parts sulfur? My name is Denise Abdul-Rahman, and I am a veteran of Desert Storm. I'm an African American woman, married, and a mother of 2 children and 2 younger children. My oldest son received albuterol treatments when he was up until the age that he was 3, and he still suffers from allergies to this day, and he is now 16. I am here to advocate for those that won't because they lack understanding, and those that can't because they are too sick, or they are economically challenged, or perhaps they have to work today, and all of those in between. I serve as the Indiana NAACP State Chair for Environmental Climate Justice. I'm also a Clean Air Ambassador for 50 States United for Healthy Air, Energy Reality Ambassador, and a member of REAMP Environmental Climate Justice and Coal Working Groups. I speak with the full support of 5,000 members of the Indiana NAACP through the leadership of President Barbara Bowling Williams. I can speak through many lenses to advocate for this important issue, but today I speak for African Americans and folks of color and low income. I live 17.9 miles from a coal-fired power plant in Indianapolis, Indiana. How long will my family and I live? Approximately 68% of African Americans live within 30 miles of a coal-fired power plant, which is the zone of highest risk of impact from exposure to toxic pollutants from coal plants. New Albany, Indiana has 61% population of color within a 3-mile radius of coal-fired power plants. A report on power plant pollution found that emissions from all power plants in the U.S., both coal and other fuel sources, are responsible for 30,000 premature deaths, 7,000 asthma-related emergency room visits, and 18,000 cases of chronic bronchitis each year. In 2011, In Indiana, black children had disproportionately higher rates of asthma diagnosis than others, 21.8% compared to 9.5% for other Indiana children. Mortality rates. Nationally, one person per 100,000 dies from asthma each year. Compared to other races, blacks are 2.3 deaths per 100,000 population, had the highest age-adjusted rate for asthma in the United States. As relates to hospitalizations and emergency visit rates between racial groups, in 2011, black Indiana residents visited the hospital 33 per 10,000 persons, over three times more often than whites, which were 9.4 visits per 10,000. This is according to IN.gov Minority Health 2013. There are high out-of-school rates for children with asthma. African American children face a high burden of barriers from school success. We know too well the linkage between school success and risk of incarceration. In addition to polluting the air we breathe and the water from which we catch fish, carbon dioxide is the #1 driver of climate change. Coal-fired power plants are the #1 contributor of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Climate change affects everyone, but it particularly affects African American communities in the following ways. Increase in the frequency and severity of extreme weather events, from Hurricane Katrina to the recent string of destruction and deadly tornadoes. African Americans have been disproportionately devastated by disaster due to lower rates of preparedness, mobility, wealth, and also because of political marginalization, which impacts infrastructure. We are affected both in disaster itself and in differential access to relief and recovery post-disaster. Passage of the carbon pollution standards will ensure that communities worldwide will not face new threats from plants that will degrade their health today, while also wreaking havoc on the very environment we all depend on, thereby resulting in widespread devastation from sea level rise and extreme weather events, as well as reduction of much-needed food supply. Passage of the carbon pollution standards will stop the injustice and begin to solidify human and civil rights, the right to breathe clean air. Passage of the carbon pollution standards will stop exhausting our military resources. When climate change and devastation occur, we are weakening our military by deploying them globally and stateside to manage so-called natural disasters. My good friend and former neighbor Elena Walson, a teacher at the Indianapolis public school system, had an asthma attack and died approximately 3 years ago. Elena, an African-American woman, married with 3 beautiful young daughters, lived approximately 15 miles from a coal-fired power plant in Indianapolis, Indiana. I ask again, how long will I, my family, and my neighbors live? Thank you. And for more information, we would like it if you went to EPA.gov and clicked on the listening session information and express your dire concerns about this cause, that you do want regulations and standards for coal-fired plants. If you want to keep informed about environmental climate justice and connect with us with the NAACP as we advocate in this space, please contact me at INECJNAACP@att.net. Again, that's INECJNAACP@att.net. We're also on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Indiana NAACP ECJ. Facebook.com/Indiana NAACP ECJ. Again, we thank you.